All right, Brungard. Hey, shit, I wanted to ask Brungard a question, but I guess we're just gonna start. What's up, y'all? Welcome to the Soccer Comic Rant. There's a cute baby in the back. You did not mishear that. That's the producers, Brungard's baby. We might just use that as the signature for the show. What's up, y'all? And what's up, y'all? Soccer Comic Rant and cute ass baby. If you're listening and you can hear the baby, you're listening on All Things Comedy, which is a platform that has some of the best comics in the world. They have podcasts also on there. Bill Burr, Felipe Esparza, Taylor Tomlinson, Al Magical, Sean Conroy, Doug Stanhope, Eric Griffin. The list goes on and on of people who have podcasts on the All Things Comedy platform. You're also listening to Omni Studio and iTunes, and if you're watching on YouTube. And yeah, like and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. Leave a comment. Usually respond to those. Neil will be fighting with people in the comments. Martin will be hating against the people who disagree with everything that he says, because everything he says is pretty much bananas. But yeah, and let me see. We have the normal suspects, usual suspect. Elvis has been on the show already. He's the T-shirt merchandise sponsor for the show. OnTheVolleyApparel.com. If you go to OnTheVolleyApparel.com, you get 20% off his T-shirts, hoodies, tanks, sweatshirts. If you use a promo code Comic Rant. So we have Elvis on. We soccer fan. We've been to LAFC games together, and South American heritage and background. What's up, Elvis?
How you guys doing? Thanks for having me. Well, thanks for having me back.
Yeah, back. And we got Lee Hudson, Southampton fan, stand-up comic, England, whatever AM, right after transfer deadline time in the morning. He's up. What up, Lee? And the best team in the world is represented by Neil Chakravarti. Man, they spent all the cash to buy the best team in the world. Neil Chakravarti, stand-up comic by way of India, living in San Diego. And what up, Chelsea Neil?
Hey, I'm loving the deflection, but
what deflection? there is no deflection. You got.
I'll take it.
You have no choice.
I'm actually good with this.
Yeah, you sure?
Yeah, I don't mind this time.
Yeah, the best team in the world. You got Lukaku. You doing it, bro. Oh, we're doing it. So, I guess the first part of the show we're going to talk about, I'm going to try to get it on the screen, a few times I've worn this T-shirt, and it says Soccer Comic Rant Podcast, and then on the sleeve it has the Soccer Comic Rant shield, and we started to we just put them up on the on the volleyapparel.com site, and we're gonna show it. And Elvis, you could just walk us through it. So let me ask Aaron, can I share screen? If I do it, let me see. So right now I'm here, share screen, and then let me go to On the Volley Apparel, and let me go to.
You can type just /Comic Rant, and then it'll hit it.
Right after T's.
Yeah, right after .com /Comic Rant.
All right. Thank God. And boom.
Nice.
And there are the shirts. They're on sale now. Go ahead. So just explain, Elvis. I don't know how business works.
Your site is live. We worked on these shirts for you for a while. Now we finally narrowed down. We got the quality of the shirt that you're happy with. They're Bella canvas shirts. They're 100% cotton. You get those. You're able to get them in size small through XXL. If you want me to make larger sizes available, let me know. But as of right now, we ship pretty much anywhere in the world. If we do encounter a country that doesn't accept shipping, we can set it up right away. So if they just email you for some reason their country, but almost we haven't had a country not available in a while. So just yeah, and I know you have for fans from far and wide. So definitely anywhere in the US, we ship right away, and then it depends on depending on the country, that's how long it takes to ship to other countries. But yeah, man, this stuff you guys can raise most of the money is going towards a podcast. Hopefully the fans will support. Hopefully we can add some more for more items, but we're starting off a little bit simple right now.
So we're gonna start off with these teas, and then we'll see how it goes. See if you guys like them. Comment, I guess, and and let us know how you feel. Or if you're just listening, go to the site on thevalleyapparel.com and look for the Soccer Comic Rant T-shirts and check them out. And they're live now. That's the term.
Yep. You can go on there, yeah.
Yeah. All right, boom. We shut that off. And then we got it. I was gonna ask you to put Lee and Neil put their names in the chat, their information in the chat, so you could get it and send them stuff. We'll do the same thing, or their size for also.
Oh yeah. We can make some shit for them.
For Martin, I forgot Martin's name, for good reason. So Elvis, like you're I don't know how much you've been going to LAFC games, but the transfer window just ended like an hour and a half ago, or maybe almost 2 hours now, and we're talking Premier League and just Europe period. Plus we have the games from this weekend, and so it's hard to figure out. Let me just ask Lee, who do you think had the best transfer window? And it could be a bunch of teams. It doesn't have to be one.
I personally would say after tonight, Chelsea.
And why is that?
I think with Lukaku was a big signing in terms of changing the way they can play. And then when you add Saul onto that as well, that's a world-class centre midfielder. Adding into that mix too, and the fact they didn't lose anyone. They didn't lose anyone that they didn't want to lose. So if you add like the investment that came in last year with Havertz and Werner and people like that, for me, they're looking the strongest squad.
All right. And Neil, do you agree with that?
I think
what is the
No, I agree with the lead that we're probably the strongest squad. I mean City's always going to be up there, but in terms of squad. But in terms of the window, I think we've had the best window, because if you can't consider both incomings and outgoings, we've managed to, get a bunch of money for players that we, as you said, we got around 160 million for players that we weren't really using. But just incomings, I'd still say in the Premier League has to be United. I mean, they got 3, we got 2, and one of theirs is the greatest player of all time. So, I mean, I don't understand. It's Lukaku and Saul versus Sancho, Varane, and Ronaldo. I think it's an easy call for me.
You're doing numbers. That means
no, it's not just numbers. It's also the quality.
But that means, how many players did you buy last year? 5?
No, but I thought we were talking about this.
Yes,
right?
yeah, but so
I already said, if you're talking about the squad, I understand.
But
you're talking about this window.
But I'm using last year's window to nullify your argument.
We already talked
about
about last year's window.
And why are you avoiding it mysteriously? What is the problem about bringing it up? You're acting like this is a court case and you don't want this?
I'm saying if you're asking
last year's window is inadmissible in this trial.
But if you're asking me about this year's window, I have to answer about this year's window.
So Lee, tell him what you said earlier before the podcast started.
I was like, Neil's trying to take the pressure off Chelsea, he thinks the players are listening to him when he's talking.
It makes me wonder if Neil is actually like Thomas Tuchel, and
but it actually happened.
Taking the pressure off the team.
I was
before the season and after each game, just in case.
No,
Like you're more coach right now than anybody.
Hey! I've actually manifested some stuff. It looked for all money that Jules Koundé was going to come to Chelsea, and I was dead against that transfer. Finally he didn't come.
So you have a perfect transfer window. Like a perfect transfer
me, yeah.
window. A perfect transfer window is you look at the strengths and your weaknesses of the team and you address.
Yeah,
weaknesses.
I agree. I think our two weaknesses were
the perfect transfer window. So when you bring up United, I look at the strengths and weaknesses of our team, and we had 3 areas that need to be addressed. Those 2 of those areas were addressed. They're very important areas because those are the areas where we suffered. Like Chelsea has no weaknesses, but I can still point at a large area of weakness in Manchester United, despite the fact that we have Ronaldo, despite the fact that we got Varane, which we needed a defender of that quality, and we have Sancho, a right winger who can play on both sides, but we haven't had a right-sided person really since probably Ronaldo or Beckham, or just that's a long ass time, like a legit guy, So now, and then Sancho still has to catch up to speed. We could see how kind of slow he was and it's a pace thing. You have to acclimate, like in the last 2 games. But more game time, he'll get up to it. But there's no holes in Chelsea, none whatsoever between last.
That is true, but there's also no Cristiano Ronaldo in Chelsea.
There's only one Cristiano Ronaldo.
Exactly. And unless any other club has Lionel Messi, I'm not.
Cristiano. Chelsea didn't have Cristiano Ronaldo last year, and they won the Champions League. So
but we also finished behind you in the league. We're talking about the league right now.
Yeah. You said that in the chat. You finished behind us in the league, and I'm going to let you walk down the same path. I'm going to take this conversation in the same steps it happened online. But so you said you finished behind us in the league, but you had a coaching problem, and you not only fixed the players on the field that you needed last season, but you also upgraded the level of coach.
No, I completely agree with that.
So let me finish. So you had to play catch up because when you got Tuchel, what place were you in?
Ninth.
And then you finished
7th or 9th, yeah.
7th or 9th. It might have been 10th, I think. So and then you finished 4th. So you had to play catch up with your new coach, right? So you had to get the points that you lost from having Lampard and an inexperienced coach. So you saying you finished 4th means nothing.
No, because even as I said, like we still dropped a whole bunch of points in the second half of the season.
And can I answer that question? Because you got a new coach who has to learn the team. He's coming in the middle of the season. He has to figure out the system. Players have to learn the system. So you're not going to get all the points right away. But towards the end of the season, you guys figured out your system, got from 10th to 4th, and won the Champions League. And then now you added Lukaku and Saul to that. Like I'm kind of baffled.
But what are you baffled about? For a second, I have not said that I'm not backing Chelsea to compete and be right there in the title contention for the Premier League. I'm just saying I'm baffled why you think that United can't do the same. Unless you think that this coach is for me, it just seems like a lack of confidence in Ole. And I understand that. He's not got the same pedigree as a Tuchel or a Pep or a Klopp. Yeah. But that could be the only reason for me.
No, there's 2 reasons. There is Ole is learning, right? So he's not the best coach in the world. So if you ask me, hey, Ian, are there better coaches out there than Ole that could probably do better with Manchester United right now? I would say yes. But I don't think you could say that for Chelsea. And
true.
And if you say, does Man United need? We have McTominay and Fred as our holding midfielders. They haven't won anything. You have Conte, who's won World Cups, Champions Leagues. You have Jorginho, has won the Euros and Champions League. And then you just bought Saul Niguez, who's won La Liga a bunch of times. And you have Kovacic, who's won Champions League and Jorginho.
But Ian, we were in a similar position.
Player of the year.
True, but Ian, we were in a similar position last year. Like all of these guys are now pedigreed. They've won
Now.
stuff. Yeah, because this entire team won a Champions League. Jorginho, folks like Jorginho, Mount, Rudiger, Christensen, Mendy. I mean, like except for Thiago Silva and Kante, before last season, we didn't really have, and Aspilicueta, we didn't really have any winners. So hear me out. So what I'm saying is, because we had somebody like Tuchel, you're right. What we did under Tuchel winning the Champions League could not have done under Lampard. What he did was, being that kind of the level of coach that he is, he knew he didn't have. Don't forget, we finished the last league season with our highest scorer being 6 goals. So he took that kind of a team with its deficiencies and figured out a way to work with them and win the Champions League. So I'm saying right now, even you're talking about one hole, we had a whole bunch of holes last season, and we still got the job done. So if you have a coach,
that's a false statement. You said you had a bunch of holes and you bought the players to fill the holes.
I'm not talking about this. I'm saying last season we had a bunch of holes.
No, you didn't have.
We still.
Like, can I just say something? Because you went in kind of like a false direction, because you're talking about decorated players. It's your players, right? They weren't decorated, but we all knew they were great players in their position. They just needed to win.
But even you have those players.
You don't base buying on this person hasn't won before, so let me get rid of him. You're like, oh.
But that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, do you have confidence in them winning right now?
Say what?
Do you have confidence in them winning right now?
No.
Like if they've never won, you can't really have that confidence unless they actually.
No, you can.
No, you can.
Yes, you can.
Okay, are you telling me that at
because you could look at your players and you can tell, and there's also.
But you went backing Chelsea on every knockout leg. You were backing the opponent.
No.
Atletico Madrid, you're backing the opponent. Real Madrid, you're backing the opponent.
No, that's
Manchester
not me.
City.
I think you're mixing me up with Martin.
I at least remember Real Madrid and Man City. You were not backing Chelsea.
I didn't. No.
I don't remember what happened in Atletico Madrid.
You're not letting me talk. You're not Neil. You're not letting me talk. You're making this up. I didn't back you again. Can I finish? I did not back you against Man City. We can go back to the podcast. This is going to look bad on you when we go back to the podcast and all these statements are false. I didn't. First of all, most games, I don't know who's going to win anyway. But I was sure you would lose to Man City because they had 2 teams, and that's the only one that I.
But you weren't alone. Like, I'm not pointing a finger at you. I think the general consensus was that Chelsea was not. Chelsea was not the favorite in any of those rounds, except maybe for Porto.
Lee, do you have anything to say here? Because this guy.
I think the players. I mean, regardless of what people were predicting before the games last year, in that final, the players stepped up and proved that they were at that level, even if they weren't fancied beforehand. I mean, every round, you knock out Atletico, you knock out Real, you knock out. Or you beat City in the final, there's something in those players that means they can cope in those big games. And they're winners, even if they didn't necessarily have the pedigree before. They've shown that they've got it now, and then you add Lukaku and Saul to that as well. And I think it's the best overall squad in terms of pound for pound, 1 to 11, and the team you can put out. Like City needed a number 9. I know they like playing with a false 9. I know they've just smashed up 2 teams 5-0 in a row, but it was Norwich and Arsenal, the 2 worst teams in the league this year. And hilarious. I feel like they needed Kane. They needed Kane and or a number 9. They can get away with Jesus. They can get away with Torres in certain games, but I think in the big games they need that sort of player. And then with United, like Ian said, they needed a world-class holding mid, which they didn't get. Right. So, I mean, even at the back, I think, especially after the Champions League win, obviously there's a lot of winners in that Chelsea team. That United team at the moment, they brought in Varane, but before Varane, you had Lindelof and Maguire, who good solid players, but not proven winners. Luke Shaw, good solid player, not a proven winner. Wan-Bissaka, good solid player, not a proven winner. Right. Especially across the back, whereas I don't know, Chelsea have just got players now who are winners in those positions.
Yeah, they're all winners now.
Yeah,
I'm just saying
But-
to Ian's point that at this point there are no winners and you have a few holes. I'm saying we were in a similar situation last year, and a quality coach made sure that
No.
you could work around those holes and still get the
you
job
weren't
done.
you weren't in a similar situation last year, because this is the issue. Last year, we go back to the first episode of the season after you guys did your transfers, and we talked about who we thought was going to finish, right? Like with Lampard, I rated Chelsea to finish above Man U last season, and it's with your unproven players before they won the Champions League. Because
Yeah, me too.
if you just know football, you just know a better team. That's a team is better. That if Chelsea never won the Champions League, I would still think this year, if they didn't win that one game, I would still think they were better than Man U this year. Like because they just are. You just see the players and you see the coach, and the coach got them to the Champions. They were so good. That team was so good. Like Lampard got them to the group stage, and he was a bad coach that got fired. So come on, like Chelsea always has a team that they can just fire the coach and get a new coach and still win with the same players. And that's just Chelsea's MO. Like Man U, we're getting to that stage where, we can, if Ole doesn't win something, we can fire him, and it's an attractive job for other coaches to come in and try to take the team to the next level. So like, hey man, just the only team that might be better than you. And listen, even this year, I rated us after all the players. I said when you go back, this is how not honest you're being. Like I said we should finish 4th or 3rd when we did the player. And this is and I had you and City ahead of us. And I said we could maybe, depending on how the injuries to Van Dijk and their defense, like we might finish ahead of Liverpool. But I know I had us like 4th. So it's like, come on, man.
No, but
I think the pressure.
I didn't. And has anything changed since Ronaldo got in?
What do you mean?
Like you said, like when we were doing this a couple of weeks back, that
because we need a CDM. I don't know if you've seen our last 2 games.
So Ronaldo coming into the team changes nothing?
He doesn't play CDM. Did you see what Adama Traore and Trincao did to Fred? Did you see?
Okay, but I mean, Fred's a $60 million player here,
So now you're just being mocking. You're not even trying. Yeah. He's a 6. We blew 60. Listen, I'm not going to diss Fred. I like Fred because Fred had moments in that game.
Even McTominay has had games, where he's doing the business. Matic has games where he's doing the business.
Yeah, but he
did do the business against us the other week.
Yeah. There you go. We're talking consistency. We're talking about building a team that won't drop points to Southampton. You know what I mean? Because, and that's no disrespect to Southampton. And they were just talking about Southampton. No. I'm just saying, like Man United has this. You just don't. There's 3 teams or 4 teams in the league we should be worried about losing points to, which is weird because since Ollie's been there, those are the people we get points from. It's like whenever his job is in danger, that's when he gets points. And it's from those top tier.
I think the pressure for United is just to close the gap.
Yes.
To the top.
Yes.
Whereas I think for Chelsea there is more pressure to win the league. I think the expectation as a club is to be in the battle with City, and I think for United it's to be in that battle. But I think their fans would be able to live easier with not winning it as long as the gap is smaller.
Yeah. And Neil, we can replay the first podcast of the season. I said, close the gap and win a trophy. I never said the Premier League.
I understand.
But now
I completely understand. But I
have to win the Premier League.
No, but I disagreed with you then. I said I think all 4 teams have a good shot this time.
But your disagreement.
And then you added Ronaldo.
Is why we're having this. Your disagreement is why we're having this conversation right now, because you're deflecting.
Why am I deflecting? Okay. At any point have I said that we are not favored or we shouldn't be right there trying to win the title? I've never said that for a second.
Well, now you're just being confusing.
I'm just saying you guys should be aiming to do
Now
the
you're
same.
just contradicting yourself.
I'm not. Okay, you can bring me like even at chats or even here. I don't think I've said for the moment that. In fact, I feel it's not just this season. I feel this is the strongest Chelsea has been as in terms of personnel since 2010 when Ancelotti was here.
Oh, so you should win then. The pressure's on you to
We
win the
should
league.
definitely, but I think it's the same since Ferguson left, and the last 2 years of Ferguson wasn't the same too. I think United are in a similar kind of situation in terms of your squad.
Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. If you were a United fan, what would you and like you're a Chelsea fan, so you're always like figuring out what this team needs. Are you telling me, as if you were a United fan, that you would expect to win, and that you like tell me what you would change right now with United?
The manager.
Okay. And even if you just stay at that, that's a huge thing, because you guys change.
I know, that's why I asked you. Like, is that where the hesitancy is coming from?
No, I'd rather get a CDM than change the manager, and we need to probably do both. But I want to give Ali a chance.
Was there anybody available that you were looking for? You were hoping that they'd be trying to pick up?
Yeah, but the one guy. So let's talk some transfers. Camavinga. And another thing I said on the podcast last year is about this French Real Madrid squad that's going to happen. And so and then it started to happen this week, where so PSG has Mbappe, and then they made 2 bids for Mbappe. Real Madrid made 2 bids for Mbappe this week, even though they didn't have to. But I think it was just like a show to do it, to give him the confidence to sign with them when he's a free agent and anybody can get him, and to like, hey, we wanted you in public, we wanted you behind the scenes, and PSG didn't sell you. And then they got Camavinga, which is a central defensive midfielder, is like an 18-year-old French under 21 player who everybody's saying is going to be the next great CDM. So he had 1 year left on his contract. What team was he on in France? Rennes. And he had 1 year left on his contract. He could have ran the contract down and went next season to Real Madrid for free, but instead Rennes decided, keep hearing some noise. Whose is that? Is that anybody's thing? Maybe that's my thing. All right, sorry. So Camavinga, 18-year-old future CDM of the world, just went. He had 1 year left on his contract, so he got sold very cheaply to Real Madrid. And we have Pogba, who's running his contract down, and is going to be a free agent by the end of the season. And he's probably going to go to Real Madrid, and so is Mbappe, and they're going to have like a $25 million, 3 of the best players in the world for $25 million pounds or dollars, or yeah. So, and then
I think they paid like 60 million for Camavinga today.
60?
30. I heard 30.
I thought it was like low. It's like 34 or something like that.
I might have misread it.
Yeah.
That's a bargain for a world-class 19-year-old.
Yeah, because I remember like they were looking for 100 million just over a season ago.
Because he had like more time on his contract.
Yeah.
But now you get him for like 24, 34 mil. Would you anybody see it?
Deal worth up to 40 million euros, so 34.4 pounds.
Yeah.
40 million euros.
So they get Pogba, Mbappe, and Camavinga for 34 million pounds. 3 of the best players in the world next year.
I'm confused. I'm not understanding why PSG would rather let Mbappe go on free transfer just to not play against them in Champions League.
Well, I mean that's a possibility too. That's actually a smart thing, because if Mbappe stays, they have Messi and Neymar, and this could actually just be their real chance to win the Champions League this year. And they're like, we'd rather win this year, keep him, win this year, and lose him for free. PSG has never won a Champions League. I think only one French team has ever won the Champions League.
Marseille.
And Marseille has banter and can say shit to PSG no matter how much good PSG is doing good now. So it's like, I think that's a smart thing to just keep him and lose him. Like, listen, the 160 or 180 mil pounds or euros that Real Madrid just offered PSG, PSG is owned by an oil conglomerate. That's literally a quarter. It's like me offering you a quarter, bro. You want me to loan you a quarter, Elvis?
I need one. Yeah.
You be like, nah, what the fuck do I need a quarter? And why did you offer me a quarter in front of all my friends? Well, you know I don't need a quarter. You know what I mean? So that's basically what they just did. So it's just for show. And
it's an ego fight between these two. Even like that, the president's level, I think those two don't get along at all. With all the stuff that happened with the European Super League, Real Madrid trying to, the whole point of the Super League was to get so rich to be able to compete with these clubs, and they couldn't do that. And I think they want to have some way to like get back these players from these, from the sheikhs.
That's pretty funny too. There's like, it's like the old money of Real Madrid, like those old teams. That's like still in the industrial age complex football money.
I mean, they are the kings. They are literally Real Madrid, right? So some new royals come into town. These guys aren't going to be happy.
Oil is like tech money.
Yeah, exactly.
Like tech money people.
See all those
trying to take over football.
You see all those guys with 50-year leases owning land in Silicon Valley. They're not happy when a bunch of us looking dudes turned up, taking all the jobs and rising the property values.
And Mbappe is being cool. He's showing up to practice. He scored this weekend 2 goals. He scored the weekend before. He's not being an asshole and demanding. He's happy either way. He's like, hey, and I think he might have told Real Madrid, make an offer for me because I promised PSG. Because Leonardo sounded like an amateur over there. He sounded like he's this job is above his head. Like the things that he's responding back. Like somebody offers you money for a player and you respond as if they insulted you. And they offer you a lot of money when the player's in their last year of their contract. And it's like why are you so insulted? Like this doesn't make any sense.
But Mbappe publicly said that he wants to make the move, right?
He said he wants to. I think he wants to move on. I think he said that.
He also came out today and said he wants to play with Messi as well.
Right. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't understand. Like it's that they're building everything around
Elvis, I think both statements are true. I want to play with Messi, which I do want to play this year. I'm not renewing my contract. And then I'm going to go to Real Madrid. So I get to achieve everything I want to achieve.
He's just going to play with them and they're not going to be able to like win a Champions League together. Like,
no, Elvis, they're going to play this season and they're in the Champions League. So
through January, but after January,
no, he's going to go in summer.
He's going to go in the summer.
Oh, in summer. Okay, good.
Yeah, after the season. Yeah, he's going
to. Then this makes perfect sense. This is this is great. Yeah, because I was being told that it was like, is there another window in January where they can?
Yeah, there's another window, but
the contract doesn't expire until the summer, though.
Okay,
he can sign a pre-contract in the last 6 months.
Yeah,
that's about it. He can't move.
Yeah, in January he can sign a pre-contract so that Real Madrid doesn't have to worry about some other team swooping.
Yeah,
and they can be confident and just let him play out his season with.
Or they could even offer a lower amount in January to try and get him.
Which they might do.
If PSG were already out of the Champions League by some crazy occurrence or something, then they would definitely get him then. But I don't think they will be.
I mean, I think there is a scenario here where everybody wins. Like if PSG wins the Champions League, they get their holy grail. That Messi, Neymar, Mbappe thing, visually that branding works and it does wonders for their brand. And Real Madrid get their player. Mbappe gets his, the move he's wanted all along. So I think everybody wins. So I think everybody should try and make sure that PSG does not win the Champions League. We need to have a loser in this thing.
So because why don't you want them to win the Champions League?
Because like I want that 200 million. So here's the thing: that 200 million they're gonna miss out on. It's not really gonna hurt. It's like in the Game of Thrones where that huge monster comes in and they try shooting arrows at him. It's barely even hitting him, but at least maybe it can hit a little bit. Like if they win the Champions League, then it's almost they're vindicated in what they did. So you want to pull them down a little bit.
You think who's vindicated? PSG?
PSG, like if they win the Champions League, then their gamble worked, right? Like keeping Mbappe for the extra year, it kind of worked.
And PSG just bought another like defender today, like a wing back.
Nuno Mendes, left back. Yeah.
From Sporting or
from Sporting, yeah. They sent Sarabia on loan for the season for free to Sporting as well. The winger, Spanish winger.
Oh, Aaron?
Sarabia, yeah. He went. PSG are paying his entire wages the whole time as well. So that was like a little part of the deal. But Mendes is exciting. He's like, attacking left back. He's only 19, I think. Right. 18, 19.
And how old is the kid they sent back to Lisbon?
Sarabia's 27, 28, maybe.
Oh, shit. All right.
He's a winger as well, different position entirely, but he's never going to play as a winger
right.
at PSG this season with those guys.
Right.
So, I rate him though. He was good for Spain in the Euros.
So yeah, I think I remember seeing him. I remember the name, but I kind of want to like poke holes at Neil a little bit. Mm-hmm. But this is something completely different. So you bought Saul Niguez, right? What's his name? Niguez?
Saul Niguez, I think.
But you had Conor Gallagher.
Yeah.
Who just scored 2 goals.
Mm-hmm.
Who last season at West Brom was just a midfield vacuum. I think like there's some players last year, like when we talk about Manchester United needing a midfielder like that, like I think of him, I think of Basuma and Ruben Neves. But just based on like watching those guys play last year and like the type of player you should pick up if you're a team at the top and you see a team who's lower in the table with a player that can improve your squad that you need like that. Like, but I guess Chelsea's doing fine, but you like I was just like kid at Southampton. What's his name?
Livramento.
And the Livramento.
Yeah.
It's like
it's the right back we got from
you
Chelsea.
guys are spending money. You have what does Chilwell play?
Left back.
Left back. Who's your right back? Well, you got Reece.
Reece James. Yeah.
Right. So he's an academy graduate, so you can. But it's just weird, bro. Like some of the players you're buying, you have.
Not really, because
playing in the thing
with Conor Gallagher is he isn't really a 6. He's more of a box-to-box 8, and I think we are buying Sal Niguez, who is also more of a country type. You can do box-to-box, but we're going to use him as a 6. So it's going to be a modified role, and he's played that role as at Atletico Madrid too at times. But that's just the craziness of Simeone. Like he makes everybody play everywhere.
Yeah, because he can play wing back too.
Yeah, he plays wing back too. So, but the thing with Gallagher is when you're that young, he has all the talent, but you don't give him a modified role for a team that's as important. You're essentially killing his development if you do that. It's something that Mourinho did with John Obi Mikel. Came in as a young attacking midfielder. He was he became a DM and a bench DM at that by the end of his career. So I'm not really in favor of me, like I love my academy guys and I want every opportunity to push them more and more into the squad. But something like this, I see the plan because even the progression of loans that he's had last season. The season before that, he finished the first half at a lower level championship club, Charlton. And then the second half of the season, Swansea, which was pushing for promotion. And then last season,
Who's this?
Conor Gallagher.
Uh-huh.
And then last season was at West Brom,
Uh-huh.
which is in lower level Premier League, and now Crystal Palace, which is probably an upgrade to that.
Yeah.
So I see the planning and I see the progression. So I'm not really that bothered by what he did. But what you're talking about in terms of youth integration, part of it is already happening because the whole Jules Koundé thing that didn't work out, and we let Kurt Zuma go. The guy who's going to be taking that position is Trevor Chalobah. So he's going to be playing a whole bunch of minutes this season because we are actually a defender shot. So
you're not a defender shot. You have Chalobah.
That's what I'm saying.
That's why you sold. That's why you
Right.
sold.
I'm saying Chalobah is getting the minutes that we would have otherwise been shot on. So the thing with youth integration is that a lot of these players, for example, are actually getting blocked by other academy graduates. For example, Conor Gallagher, he and Mason Mount are very similar type of players. Like if you see their progression through the youth ranks. So he's getting blocked. And Billy Gilmore, that's another guy who can operate in those positions.
But Gilmore's holding, so he's being blocked by Conte.
But that's the thing. He's holding because we're having to modify him. He wasn't really a holding player in the youth ranks.
So he was an attacking.
He was again like an 8, sometimes a 10. But we're telling him like, hey, if you want a future in the next couple of years at Chelsea, this is the kind of player we want you to become. We want you to become more of a playmaker from deep.
Right. Yeah, it's almost like Gilmore's like the Jorginho understudy.
Jorginho, like a Pirlo, that kind of a player.
I think that could ruin him too because I was watching like an interview with Jack Wilshere, and Jack Wilshere's way richer than me, but it's so sad, like like to see in a football play, it's like 30, 31, 32, so he could still play a little bit, but you're towards the end of not playing, but he has no team. Yeah. And nobody is giving him a chance. So he might have to go abroad, but I don't know if there's any options. But I remember like seeing the qualities of Jack Wilshere, and then Arsene Wenger and them, they put him in the holding midfield. And then England played him as a holding midfielder. But I was like, this guy's an attacking midfielder. And then everybody just kept him at holding midfielder. And it's just too slow to even affect a game. It just took away from his game there. So I get you. Listen, I'm throwing jabs at Chelsea, but I feel like Chelsea's not only the best team to win the Premier League because of what's on the field and because their coach, because of their office and how great the academy's done. You got how many players at Southampton does Chelsea have? 2 or 3?
We signed Livramento and Simiu, and we got Brozier on loan.
And then Gallagher's at goddamn
Gallagher and Gahey at Crystal Palace.
At Crystal Palace. And then who else you got? You got more people.
Gilmer at Norwich. And we got this guy at Brentford. I don't think he's gonna play. Like he's kind of like Simiu kind of development. Miles Peart-Harris. And then we have a couple of players in the championship. And we sold a whole bunch of our academy players. So that's we've raised around 160 million. 110 of that has come from academy sales. So we've actually offloaded a fair bit. And again, it's the same thing.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like
they don't have a pathway right now.
Nobody's looking at you illegally right now. Like you've learned your lesson from cheating a few years ago. And
that wasn't a financial cheating. That was a clerical error on a transfer. Transfer.
Yeah. That's not cheating.
There was no money thing.
Yeah.
The thing is, I've had an overview from the coaches at Chelsea's academy as well, and they say that the aim, like obviously the prime goal is to have players in the first team, but the overall aim is to produce professional footballers.
Exactly.
And the hit rate on that is pretty astounding for any club, because the percentage of kids that make it all the way through academies into the professional game is so low. And the fact that Chelsea are churning out quality youngsters who if they don't have a career at Chelsea, they're gonna have a good career somewhere else in most cases.
Yeah.
So that's like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I remember seeing
these
these
both ways.
Yeah, I sometimes these photos come up on Twitter from some youth coach shared from, it's an under 8s batch or an under 10s batch, and you'll see like 10 or 11 of them are playing in the Premier League or in like the German league or something like that, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah, I
And
can show you my Chelsea under 8s badge photo.
And so in previous times, these photos used to really hurt because these guys had we never had a pathway to academy players in the. I don't mind these guys having careers elsewhere. At least if some of them are helping the main team too. So
Don't worry,
but
Lee,
now
if
that's
they have a
happening.
great career
So
somewhere, you just buy them back 2 times.
yeah, I mean, Lee's gonna take good care of Livramento. So we have an eye out on that.
Yeah, he had a game against us.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, who the fuck is this guy? And why is he doing this to us? This team is supposed to suck. And they lost their best 2-3 players. And who the fuck is this guy running down the right, uncatchable? And turns out he's a Chelsea player. But speaking of Chelsea, there's a team that's doing the complete reverse of Chelsea. Brentford. Brentford just came up. They have no academy. They have a B team. And they just play Moneyball. So they spent $40 million on 45 million or whatever dollars, euros, pounds on transfers. And it's working. It's their first year in the Premier League in 70-something years. They got 5 points. What do you think of because Brentford was like, whenever we had academy players, they just end up selling them to like the Chelseas and all the top teams. So it's like, why? We'll just use a computer to pick out. We'll have a B team and use a computer to get people when we want it. And they've sold players to teams up the table and still got into the Premier League. So they just it's another business model, but it's done perfectly. And Brentford, they're in the Premier League, but they still have to survive. But it's pretty dope. You know anything more about Brentford, Lee?
Yeah, so there was a thing brought in a few years back called EPPP, which is like an academy categorization. Like they put the academies in different categories. And if you were one of the lower categories, then the bigger clubs could steal your players with minimal compensation. So if you're Brentford, who are, I think, maybe category 2 or 3, they could produce a really good player up to the age of 14 or something, and then Chelsea could steal them and barely pay them anything. The only clubs that have to pay a big amount are if a category 1 club, like if Man United wanted to take a kid from Chelsea, they would have to pay quite a bit of money for it. But the idea was so that the best players could end up at the best clubs. But it kind of ruined it for the smaller clubs where they were investing in their academies and then losing their players for nothing.
Right.
So Brentford looked at that, and they looked at the geographical element of it as well, where they're competing not only against Chelsea, Arsenal, Tottenham, West Ham, they're competing against Charlton, Fulham, Palace, Watford, all these other clubs that are in all the same region. So they just, like you say, they decided to scrap it. They created the B team, and they sign players who are released at 18 years old from other clubs, or they buy the players that are 18, 19 and put them in that environment. And the B team play their own bespoke fixture list as well. Like they go to other countries to play against foreign teams and all sorts. So they're not even in a reserve B team league.
Oh, so they're not even an under 23 league. Yeah,
they put together their own fixture list. I went and watched a game a few years ago. I watched the Brentford B team play Man City's under 23s in a friendly, because Brentford's B team wasn't in the same league as Man City's under 23s, but they organised a friendly that Man City wanted to play them because they knew it was a good test. And Brentford beat them that night as well. So it was interesting to watch. And yeah, they've got some really smart guys there. Everything's data analytical in terms of how they drive their strategy and everything. The owner who owns Brentford also owns FC Midtjylland in Denmark as well. So they signed players from there too. They signed a centre midfielder from there this season. So they got that link up, like a parent or sort of affiliate club. And yeah, they use that as a scouting arm in Scandinavia as well. It's all it's all very well set up.
Yeah, I like all these like new entities, like a Brentford, even though it's not a new entity, but the style of like how to do business, like the Red Bull teams, you know what I mean? Like how they do things and how they like kind of usurp like the patriarchy of football as it is, and just like we're gonna figure out a way to compete. And then there's like, and even like, Southampton has, as I was praising Lee, he gets disconnected. Like even Southampton in the Premier League had their own model, which was pretty successful. And I think a higher version of Southampton right now is Leicester, like the way that they're getting the players that Southampton would sell to other teams, like Leicester's getting those type of players, or just like a little bit, and now they can sell them for like even more money than Leicester would sell them. Well, actually, maybe the same, because Southampton, like Van Dijk was at Southampton, you got 80 for him, right? So yeah, but that's it's just interesting to see like how different business within the same businesses operate. It's just weird. And like,
yeah, I mean, the Brentford thing has become more common. Like loads more clubs now, they employ like teams of data scientists who don't even have football backgrounds. They're just data specialists, and then the coaches and the technical staff let them know what they need.
right.
So that's happening at a lot more clubs. There are still some clubs who they have all these people employed, but they still don't really know what the strategy is.
Right.
So there needs to be an overall strategy that has some direction to it. Like, I mean, Arsenal have.
Lee, I was just gonna say, Lee, does Arsenal have a data team?
Arsenal has a very sophisticated data setup, but they have people using it. Edu, who
No.
Edu, who has a Nokia phone, is on a sophisticated computer system, and
the
doesn't know
business
how to
they've done
Somebody on this.
the
Somebody
business
writing
they've
on
done
this.
is insane. Like they've
Yeah.
spent like between Ben White and the Japanese guy Tomasiu, I think that his name is, that they signed today. That's £100 million worth of centre back that they didn't really need. Like
£100
they
million
loaned
of
Salah around.
inexperience. Yeah.
I don't know what they're doing there. They're spending a load of money, and they're not making the team any better. They spent loads of money just to be average to bad still.
Average is giving them a lot more credit. Like they did make the team younger. It's almost like, Arteta, I want you to prepare this team for the next two coaches who are going to take over. One is going to take over from you, and then somebody's going to take over from that guy. It's like Arsenal is literally like a plane with the pilots passed out, and it's just plunging. You know what I mean? And if one of the passengers can get to the front and pull the plane up and level it off, like, it may survive. But what do you think of Arteta's chances of surviving, Neil? And then Lee can answer that. And Elvis, have you heard any Arteta?
No, yeah, it's watching them. Well, mainly from like banter. Like I haven't been. I spent the.
That's all you need, baby. Banter.
Yeah, it's just been I saw Alexis from the Cooligans going off on Arteta yesterday and today, and it's just a shit show fire right now. But it's pretty comical watching it kind of burn down. Like it's just, my favorite part about the EPL is watching you guys fight amongst each other. I think that's probably like the more entertaining part, because once it gets into like the Champions League and all that stuff, and they become a team. But when you watch just the EPL league, the amount of hatred that you guys throw at each other is, I mean, just the first 40 minutes here, it's just, I don't even know. Like, you guys are arguing about who likes each other's team first. Like I thought you were a Man U fan, but you're claiming Chelsea better.
But that's the problem. This is the argument. Like, Neil, I'm complimenting Neil's team, and he's not accepting any of the compliments. Like his team is got players in every position. Like they don't even need Sal Niguez. They don't even need him, bro.
But he's complimenting your team, so like you guys are switching roles. Like,
Nah,
you
but-
guys are, like you
nah,
feel like
but-
it's bad. You
but-
guys don't want to. You guys are superstitious
I
or
will-
something. Don't want to
listen.
root for your own team.
Listen, I would
and
take a
it's
compliment.
Bad luck.
I would take a compliment if it's justified. You feel me? But I'm not going to take a compliment because somebody wants to just protect their own team's interest just in case it doesn't work. I want Neil to own up to that, the fact that Chelsea is the best team on paper and they've won a title before. They improved in 2 positions and they won. It's Champions League they won last year. Champions League. It's Champions League. Like, you know how much money PSG has spent not to win the Champions League?
Yeah.
And they
not
even
won it,
used
yeah.
they even used a PSG player in defense and an old PSG coach, like who was fired. And
He was fired for not winning the Champions League.
he's fired for not winning the Champions League. As a matter of fact, Thiago Silva, and I always wondered this, but he came out publicly
Yeah.
and he's pissed. And he has a right to be pissed because PSG brought in Sergio Ramos. But even though they brought in Sergio Ramos, he's won Champions League several times. And at the same age that they let go Thiago and wouldn't give Thiago a 2-year contract, and they gave Ramos a 3-year or 2-year contract. They gave him the contract they didn't want to give Thiago, and Thiago's like, I feel like I meant nothing to them. He feels like the jilted girlfriend right now, but he has a Champions League to back up that jiltedness. So it's just like when you're talking about, Elvis, when you're talking about like the back and forth, like it's with fans, it's with players. It's just a lot of shit, a lot of soap operas going on, man.
And it's really early in the season too. Like because there's so much soccer to keep up with. I know your guys, the favorite, you're focusing on the EPL, but for me, because people just are like, hey, what do you think about this league and this league? I was like, I don't know, man. I'm just like, I'm just waking up. Like, can you guys just give me, because I through the brand, since we're an American based, I feel that it's kind of like my duty to like represent, to follow the MLS very strongly, because we can't sit here and complain that no one supports the league and then be the people that don't support the league. So it's just kind of like a job for me. I have to keep up. I have to watch the worst games. I have to just watch them just to stay informed. Just because I need to. It's like it's just
because you want to keep it going. You want to keep it going.
Yeah, like
you're playing the long game.
I have season tickets to LAFC and LA Galaxy.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. But it's just because like you have to support it. Like it's just good. Like people, I have, and through the brand, like I can't be like there's no right or wrong. No matter what, someone's gonna be upset. Like it's just like, so I have to support both LA teams, because then I do, like we are able to give out tickets and like support. We're good friends with people at management and stuff like that. But it's just the league needs the support, and I just feel like I can take away some of the time from the bigger European leagues, because it was just like, what do they need my support? And like, you know what I mean? Like they don't, they're thriving. So it's going to be, okay, I start keeping up when it gets a little bit later in the season, and it reaches a little bit of an equilibrium, because there's just so many leagues to follow, like from outside, and still be trying to like support. But it is fun to watch. Like while I was in Vegas this weekend, it was the APL. I was playing poker like at 4:30 in the morning, and then the English Premier League started playing on. I was like, oh, cool, we're back. Like I forgot that it just started. I mean, we're only 3 weeks in, right?
Yeah, 3 weeks in, and then we're international break, so there's no games this weekend. So
I've been avoiding the MLS this season because my team is probably the worst team in it this year. So,
what's your MLS team? I didn't know you had it.
TFC Toronto. I used to live there, and I used to go to all the games when I lived in Toronto, and they're just so bad this season.
Yeah,
they had a few seasons of dominance, like they were one of the better teams, and then they just gone.
Yeah, ever since Jovinko left, it's pretty much gone downhill from there. Like it's just but it's fun. It's just fun, especially when a European player like comes to MLS. It's good, and a lot of purists, I guess, like say that we don't need the European like kind of retirement league and all stuff, but it's just for us, it's just kind of like you need people with experience to come, and then the players that we're building up or they can learn. Like, you can't tell me that a player isn't going to learn from playing, a young player in the MLS, American kid, college kid, isn't going to learn from just watching and training with Jovinko. Like, that's not a thing. Of course he's going to learn from it. Is it going to elevate us now to become like a world power? No, that's not the thing. Like, you got to take the steps. You got to climb the ladder. You can't just be trying to get to the top. So for me, I think it's great. Bring in these European players who wanted, yeah, sure, they'll get a payday. That's fine. But like, I'm salivating at the idea of that eventually a Messi and Ronaldo, they're going to come. One of them at least.
Ronaldo's never going to come there.
One of the funniest games I saw was I was at the Yankee Stadium for Red Bulls against New York City. And New York City won New York Red Bulls won like 7-0. And the New York City team had like Pirlo, Lampard, Villa. But the best player, one of the best players on the pitch was Bradley Wright Phillips, who couldn't even do it in League One. And he outshone all these like legends of the game. And that Lampard had only just signed, and he came off the bench at like 5-0, and the fans booed him because the stadium announcer was like, "Welcome to the field, Super Frankie Lampard." Like, you're 5-0 down. You don't introduce him with Super in the name. Like, all the home fans just booed. It was hilarious. I loved it. But just watching, even like Pirlo, if you watch Pirlo play, he was like 35, 36, and he was still, even though they were getting trashed, he was still the best player on the field. Like, his vision was just unreal. It was great to see him play.
You have that kind of vision, but like, he's over there, like you're talking about, with guys who don't have that kind of level or that kind of vision. You need other players who have a similar vision to do, because he's out there playing chess with a bunch of kids playing checkers, and like he's sending through balls that were like, oh, I never even saw that run as a possibility. And that's like, and they don't, that's what's unfortunate when you have guys who have come. But then you get like Loidero, who's coming in from like in Seattle. He's doing really well. Like, it's just it's really great to see now they're starting to be a mixture of younger players who are elevating, and it's even better because these younger players who are coming up through that MLS strength, they're getting picked off by European teams, and I'm for it. I don't think we need to keep these players here. Let's make them better, because it'll make the player pool for the US stronger,
for the national team stronger.
Like, it's fine. It's just, I think it's good. Like, let's bring in whoever.
You can see the levels going up year on year.
Exactly. And now finally I have friends who were arguing ever since the Beckham deal at the beginning. They were just like, this isn't the way to do it. It's just like this, it needs to be the way it's here. See how they do it in South America. See how they do it. It's like, it's impossible to do that structurally. It's impossible, like to build the way that it's built in South America and Europe.
Culturally as well, yeah.
Yeah, it's just.
Well, let me ask you a question. Like, so the reason why we have all these great young players that are playing all over Europe now was a system set up by Jurgen Klopp. Like, I think Klinsmann, my bad.
Yeah.
Is that system still in place? Or I read an article like months ago, maybe over a year ago, that the coronavirus and like just kind of ravaged like youth football financially. So I was always worried if that thing is like been replenished and still back in place, that we can get the Rangers and the Pulisics and those young kids like still.
I think it's still relevant in the sense that just because like there's higher level teams popping up in really, really, really small markets here in the United States now. Like, you're talking about like Chattanooga, like it's like teams, and they're paying decent amounts. Like, I have a friend who plays in Chattanooga with the Red Wolves, and he's just like, but any like other places, the landscape has changed so much now that like you can make a decent living and continue playing soccer. Whereas in before, like let's say 15 years ago, friends that were my age getting out of MLS, they're being offered $25,000 a year contracts, and you have to train the youth academy and work full time, and then still have 2 part-time jobs or a full-time job to be able to play soccer. It was impossible. People were just like, no, I'm just going to go get a job. I can't play soccer. It's just over now.
Well, that just sounds like they're not committed to me. I would have done that.
Huh? Yeah.
I'm not working. I can make $25,000 before taxes and have no place to live but play soccer and coach. I'm in. Sign me up.
and then
This is a problem with America. There's no dedication. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, these leagues in Europe are not offering $25,000.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that pipeline to find all the young kids is still in place.
It's there. I think so, man. There's a lot of really good kids, and what's great too that's happening that I've been seeing a lot. I was able to see with the Gold Cup this year is that there's a lot of kids that have like not necessarily dual citizenship, but they have like heritage from a kind of another country, like the two brothers that play at the Roldan brothers that play in Seattle. One of them got picked up by the U.S. national team, and the younger brother, I think, didn't get picked up. Obviously, didn't get picked up by the U.S. national, but he was picked up by the El Salvadorian national team. So I just think that that's great because it gives players these opportunities who are just kind of like, oh, do you have your mom's from so and so, which always was the case before, but now obviously the U.S. isn't going to pick them up, or if you're English and any other country, you can go to the smaller country and still have a shot with them. And that's what's like happening a lot with the kids here in the United States. They have parents from various different countries, or you have parents from 2 different countries and you were born here in the United States. Now you have 3 different countries that you can possibly play for. And I just think that it's spreading the wealth for all this. It's giving the kids here nowadays have more and more opportunities of where they can go play. And still
just reminded me of like the Boateng brothers.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like or while we had I forgot. I don't know why I'm drawing a blank on his name. The German dude that played for the national team and scored against Portugal. I don't know why I'm drawing a blank.
Weston McKennie?
No, in like 3 World Cups ago.
Was it Jones?
Jones, yeah, Jermaine Jones. I don't know why I was drawing a blank, but like, yeah, I love
Jermaine Jones. He was a baller. I think
I did too. And if it wasn't for things like that, the U.S. needs to capitalize on getting players like that because it fixes holes immediately, but it also helps players play with players who have European experience, and it helps us come up that way.
Is Klinsmann getting the credit for like he was people like, yeah, he didn't get the results that we wanted him to get as a coach, right? For the national team. But he didn't also have the players. But I think he has a lasting positive effect that on American soccer that might not only get us into the next World Cup, but has already won us a Gold Cup. And what was that tournament? The Confederation, was it the Confederation Cup?
The Gold Cup is ours? Or the the one that's it's supposed to be
Nations League.
So we just won the Nations
League.
And I think it's because of him that we won those 2 things.
I think but he kind of shot himself in the foot with the whole like Donovan situation. I still firmly believe he should have. I just thought it was a little bit. It was out of spite and a personal like vendetta that they had with each other that he did to Mike Donovan, and I still have I still have the nightmares on what would have been if it was Donovan that had that sitter against Belgium. You know what I mean? Like it's just, and that's what our goal was. Our goal was not to win a World Cup, but to just take that extra step and make it past quarters. If we make a semifinal, it does wonders for the program in a World Cup. And
that's like such American thinking. You know how hard that shit is to do. England just did it. You know, it's
yeah, but you guys have like these goals that are like you've already been there. For us, it's just
it doesn't feel like it. Trust me, if you ask an English person, it doesn't feel it. No English person.
But you don't stop bringing it up. That's for sure. Like they just like bringing it up. They too if they say they don't like that they've already accomplished that, those aren't their goals. But when they do fail, they do bring up the fact that they've already accomplished so much.
Yeah, but that's
we're not even in the conversation.
That's a defense mechanism. But you don't have to be in the conversation. You guys just started, like I say, you guys. I feel like we just started soccer. How long we just had the MLS started?
It's
96.
Since 96, yes.
So how many years is that? Less than
25.
35?
25.
I think it's
literally 25 years.
So we only had a league 25 years, and we trying to get into the semifinals of the. If America accomplished that would be so disrespectful to just soccer. Period. For countries that's.
I thought it would. I thought they were really.
I think it's doable
really
now because of this team and because of like the foundation of like the youth thing that they just did under Klinsmann. I think it's possible now,
Yeah.
but I also don't want it to be easy and be taken for granted. You know, I like the fact that
You have to kind of earning it. You have
you
to
have
kind of
to
work
earn
your
it.
way
Like
up.
I don't want America to be entitled when it comes to soccer. I think we have to keep soccer pure, and you have to like earn it. And then if you earn, it's like even with England, man, it's like we won one World Cup out of all of them. It's like there's still a humbleness about English football. If America just won it easy, I just think it will be more damaging
It would
to
be
American football.
That's
than
why I was
positive.
happy for them to get us to just make it to semifinal, and I don't even know who was up next against them, that who they would have played, but I just think it would have been just great. It's like, all right, cool, we're like, we got another step, let's get back, let's work on the next World Cup, and then they missed the World Cup entirely. And
Right.
what
But we had an
last
old team. We had a team that aged, you know, and that happens. And then you have to learn how to. You have to go through that to learn how to when to transition.
you
and
can't
take
age
the-
so much that you miss a World Cup, though, man. Like that's
We
not.
did though.
Yeah,
did.
it wasn't through age. It was just mismanagement. Like you can't.
No, but
It
yeah,
was.
but it,
It
happens.
wasn't that
It
Trinidad and
happens
Tobago
to
was better.
it happens to a lot of the teams. It happens to Germany. It happens to Italy. You know,
Miss the World Cup.
yeah, Italy missed
Oh, yeah,
World Cups.
Italy missed the World Cup. Yeah.
Yeah, Italy missed it. Like some major teams have missed World Cups.
Holland,
Like
Netherlands
Holland.
missed it a bunch of times.
Yeah,
That
and
doesn't
then-
make me feel better. I guess that's
and,
kind of what I'm getting at.
Germany had to like they didn't. I don't think they missed the World Cup, but they did so bad that they had
Yeah,
to.
They
yeah.
went
This
to
last
Germany
one,
and Russia.
they
Yeah.
lost to
what?
Korea. They lost to South Korea and Mexico.
Right, but even
know.
before, like in the 80s or 90s, I think they had to revamp like the entire concept of how they think about football in the whole country and
Yeah.
start like youth systems all over the country because they missed or did badly in a World Cup. And they had to like make sure they don't get themselves in a position like that again. And it's like
They prepared for the Brazil World Cup so well. Like they set up a whole camp. They built a hospital there. They hired all locals. It was really great. And after the World Cup, I don't know if you guys heard about this or all, but like when they won, they left the facilities. They donated like the ambulances. They left. They hired staff only from
that's
there.
just like this is just like the American military exiting Kabul, leaving $85 billion worth of
it's for the people.
guns,
It's for the people. That's what we're
jeeps,
getting at.
For the new security folks.
aircraft. So Kabul has a full. I mean, the Taliban have a full. So America thinks just like
But no
just like the
hospitals.
American military. Yeah.
But no hospitals. I think
There's a really good book about how Germany changed their system, like their youth system before that World Cup, and it also covers all that stuff you're talking about with the World Cup and the way they behaved in Brazil. It's called Das Reboot. Raphael Honigstein wrote the book. It's a really good insight though. Really good insight.
I saw that. One thing, I mean, I don't want to like completely change the subject, but when I was playing poker in Vegas this weekend, somebody told me about some changes in European. I don't know if it's just the EPL or all of European soccer about the groundskeepers not being able to, I guess, there's rule changes on how badly you can have a field set up for a visiting team. Is that a thing? I don't know if you've heard about what that like it is. I'd like to get, if you know anything about it. I thought it was
there's pitch quality standards, yeah, and they're not allowed to get too bad. I don't think we'll ever see it like the days when Mourinho used to create a sand pitch at Stamford Bridge, which Neil will remember.
Yeah.
But now they're saying that the groundskeepers are becoming really, really high paid, like the guys that are really, really good at it, like just because they have to But is that something very new, like the standards that they're like?
No, I think it's been there the last few years, but there's been a real advancement. There's always advancements in the technology and the methods. So I was working at one club, and I went into the training ground one day, and it just stank of garlic. And I spoke to the groundskeeper. I was like, "What the hell? Why is this whole place smelling?" They're like, "Oh, we put garlic on the pitches now." I was like, okay.
Okay.
It was just strange being in like a Premier League training ground and the whole place just smells like garlic because they're putting it on the pitches. But yeah, it was something.
Yeah, the teams are hiring Kew Gardens groundskeepers to like make their football pitches like pristine. I want to go into like, we got to go soon, but like, so Chelsea, the big game of the weekend was Chelsea versus
Liverpool.
Neil, how do you feel about dropping points?
No, I think this is one of my favorite games to watch of Chelsea, this season. I mean, we're only 4 or 5 seasons games in, but
3. Well, you played a bunch of Super Cup and all
Super
that.
Cup, yeah. So I think, obviously going into a big game, we know, Liverpool's a tough team, so it'd be good to, have a good performance. But in a way, the circumstances that played out, having to defend with 10 men for a full 45 minutes, having Kante off injured at halftime, it kind of felt like a draw probably for the long term means more, that draw, than what we would have probably got out of a win in a normal circumstance. I mean, we know this team can beat other big teams, but what they did, in the second half, even for team spirit purposes, I think there was a kind of like a backs to wall grit, which hasn't always been seen with Chelsea in the past couple of years. And I really liked it, and the fact that we did it without N'Golo Kante on the pitch was amazing. There were obviously, there were some mistakes made. I think the front three,
which is why you don't need Sal Niguez.
No, actually, Jorginho, you could see Jorginho is the worst kind of player to play in a game where you're down to 10 men, because the whole point is Jorginho finds it tough to cover ground even when you're 11 on 11. So when you're 10 versus 11, it's an added disadvantage.
Lander.
But Jorginho, like he never gave up. Like he stuck to it. Like, and he kept doing. He has these little quirks that he'll keep doing. He's not afraid of pulling somebody down. And he did everything that he could. And he started quite a few counterattacks, which, if we did have those 3 spokes up front, maybe we could have done something. I think Tuchel would be disappointed in the passing between the front 3 in the first half. I think there were a couple of positions where we were in really good positions to have just that simple touch. And, it was like a 2-on-2 or 2-on-1 situation. Mount made a bad pass, Havertz made a bad pass, and Havertz actually made that error twice. So we could have closed that game down in the first half. But that's fine. Like, this front 3 is playing together. It's only their second game. So I think some of the fluidity will come. But overall, I think,
how do you think Lukaku played?
I think Lukaku had a tough game. Like, this is, again, a similar, like, this is not the kind of game you would ideally want for Lukaku. Mm-hmm. He's here to score goals for Chelsea. That's not a game, for the most part, that Chelsea were looking to score goals. So, but he had a few good moments. Like, actually, even though Liverpool had the giant possession of the ball and got a lot of shots off in the second half, but if you see the 2 clear-cut chances that fell in the second half, where Lukaku had he connected on a really good volley, and it was a great block by Matip. I think it was going. I don't think Alisson was covering it, and then he slipped in Kovacic on 1-on-1 through to the keeper. But this is issue. Ideally, you want those chances to fall to somebody other than Kovacic, because Kovacic's got like 2 goals in the last 5 years, something like that. So he's not somebody who can put the ball in the back of the net. So, but I don't think he'll face many defenses as tough as this one. Matip and Van Dijk. Lukaku had some good moments against both of them. I like how, I think it is a proper contest.
Yeah. I like how Matip and Van Dijk let Lukaku know he'll never walk alone, and that we're going to be wherever you are.
Yeah.
And we are here. And this, I don't know why this has taken me so long. Maybe it's because I saw what Lukaku did with Pablo Mari.
Mm-hmm.
But after this week, I realized how much, and it wasn't just your game, but size. I just realized how much size matters in English football. And it's a weird thing to say because, size didn't matter when I used to watch Barcelona play with Messi, Iniesta, and Xavi. But I guess there's a certain amount of physicality. But in English football, you just need that size because you have people like Lukaku. And then I saw what Adama Traore did to Fred and him. and to goddamn even Wan-Bissaka at times, like just like literally shedding them like a snake shedding its skin. Like, get off me, I'm going past you, and there's nothing you can do about it. And I'm gonna hold your arm's length like a football running back, stiff arming people and just going around him and doing whatever he wants to do. And then so
Yeah, I think
Lukaku still rolled one of them at one point, didn't he? He probably managed to just spin one of them.
Yeah. He rolled Matip once, and he kind of like bumped and dropped Van Dijk on the sideline once.
He rolled Matip like further up, like in the
that was in the second half where on the like a counter attack.
Yeah. But he had players behind him.
Yeah.
Like Van Dijk was behind him and could.
I think Van Dijk did the smart thing. Initially, it was Van Dijk who was taking Lukaku. I think at some point they switched, and Van Dijk was like, "I'm not gonna get too close to. I'm gonna use my." Maybe he's still like the pace is still probably he's working towards that absolute full fitness. So he wanted to like get a little bit of a head start.
But he's also smart because it's funny. There's this video. Like Jamie Carragher was interviewing Lukaku, and
I know what you're talking about.
And Lukaku showed him how he deals with defenders. And Jamie Carragher is so hard headed. Like he like you saw the video, right? Like you got to see this video, Lee or Elvis. He's like,
I've seen it.
Yeah, he's like, if you come up on me, then I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna roll it. And he's Jamie Carragher. You're gonna do that for real? It's like, first of all, he's 20 years younger than you. Even if he'd never done it before and he's just thought about it in theory, he's going to do this to you. But he's also done this to people. So why would you disbelieve that this is? So it's like, I think Matip has been, I think Van Dijk definitely watched those videos. Or he just said, he's just a smart guy. He's like, you cannot play this guy close. Let him turn around and try to face you and then get the ball from him that way. And just don't give him the space to make the moves.
Didn't they salvage points? But I mean, with the red card, they still kind of salvaged. They could have not gotten any points at all.
Yeah, it was like a Suarez handball in the World Cup.
Come on.
It worked out like that.
Come on.
What?
Come on.
Come. Listen, man, you got points. What's the problem?
But it wasn't the Suarez handball.
Not initially, but there was a point where he said, I'm going to use my hand to clear this ball away from the line.
Oh my God.
And he did it. Listen, man, listen. All red cards ain't bad, bro.
Yeah, I'm a fan of red cards. I think it's
I like the fact that a scrap broke through too, like a couple of times, like people are going really at each other.
Yeah. It turned into like a derby. The game turned into that. What do you think about the Pogba on Ruben? This tackle did not hurt, but oh shit, my team is not going to get the ball, so I'm going to go down Neves and try to buy a foul. And Greenwood.
It was strange. It was a strange one because like the way Pogba's gone in for it, if he connects with that, it's a foul. I think referees can give just for the intent. It doesn't need to be the contact. So it's kind of a weird one because some refs might give that, some refs might not, but there is no contact, so he can let it run. So yeah, it's one of those weird ones. Some referees might give that, some won't. If it's your team, you don't want to see it given. It's a little bit like when, different type of challenge, but when Stevens made that challenge on Fernandes last week in the United Southampton game, like some refs might give that.
Right. Yeah.
Some refs might not.
I mean, the Shaka one, for example, like he goes in 2-footer, he doesn't actually make contact because the guy is sensible, he jumps over it. Like he's not going to wait for you to end his career just so he can get a foul, So sometimes I feel like the whole contact thing, it's kind of also encouraging diving because you're essentially telling players that unless you're hurt and go down, you're not going to get anything. So
the refs have been told this season as well to let play go more.
Yeah.
Right. Remember we watched the Euros, and the first thing we did on the podcast was talk about how just the first week of the Euros or the first few games we had I was like, yo, they stopped making bullshit calls. And I was hoping that they'd bring this to like the rest of football. And every league around the world has changed because players just dive too much. they just dive too much. And Neves was not hurt. He wasn't hurt until he realized he didn't get the ball. And I saw the play, and Pogba did make contact, but also it's like Neves made contact with Paul too. Like his foot was going in a forward motion and hit Paul's foot just as much as Paul hit his. So it's like sometimes I don't think refs count for like the momentum of the fouled
But
play.
Pogba had his stats showing though.
Yeah, but it's I get that, but it was definitely not intentional, and it was definitely not. It's like it was as low as it could be. It wasn't like it was like like Shaka was act like he had a shoe, like he had a sponsor on the bottom of his boots.
Shaka's was
the
very
way he
clear
slid
cut.
in there.
Yeah.
His was like
The ref was right by the Pogba one as well, wasn't he? The ref was
Yeah.
pretty close.
Yeah, he was right there.
Mm.
And then somebody was saying in the studio that the ref was there and he couldn't hear anything. You know, sometimes you could hear the collision. But
Yeah.
I really think it was a graze. And
Yeah. The trajectory of the tackle was just, that's why I don't see, I think it was a little bit of an overreaction. I think it looks as if he hasn't, but you watch the replay, the player's coming in at an angle and he just went for the ball and he just missed and just kind of, and still light-footed. It was just happens to be, I just don't.
Yeah, Elvis.
It was
yeah.
more, no, I just feel like it was more kind of like, not even reckless, just lazy. Like, I feel like it was a lazy tackle that happened to graze him. And then, yeah, card him. It's a foul, but I don't, maliciousness and trying to like really like.
Whose side are you on here?
Well, actually, the problem is if you foul, you don't even have to card him. If you call it a foul, that's not a goal, and they don't win the game. So,
Ian, I'll give you one guess. Which pundit
I know.
in this country said that it was a definite red card?
And also fucking
and Graham Souness of all people.
Paul Ince. Paul Ince, like, hey man, to me, you're dead to me, Paul Ince. Like Paul Ince was in the studio with Tim Sherwood, and it's like these guys are regurgitators, and you know I'm already upset with Tim Sherwood, and it's like, look, you know, Paul Ince. I'm like, and I asked my friend, I was like, if you put Paul Ince behind a shield and he spoke, would you think? You know, I'm not even gonna go there. I just think Paul Ince is institutionalized.
Manchester United legend.
And nah,
Not after he went and played for Liverpool.
You played for Liverpool, yeah. I like Paul Ince as a Black English player who came up in a time of racism, but I think his vision of life is kind of skewed in a way that's not always good. Let me stop.
But Souness criticizing Pogba for that was the least surprising thing of the weekend.
Yeah. He's like, it should have been a red card. And he acted as if he broke his leg. Souness acted like Pogba broke the guy's leg. Souness act like he never played football before and doesn't understand what actually happened on the field.
Souness was one of the most horrible tacklers of all time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. He said that's what he said. He said it was one of my tackles. That's what Souness said. He should have been sent off because it was one of my tackles. And it's like, no.
And are they having the same argument if Man U didn't score right after?
Yeah, nobody's talking about it then. Yeah.
It's just they don't. That's what I'm saying. It's just because they failed to defend afterwards.
Yeah, listen.
Now they're upset.
Listen.
The goalkeeper fucked up as well. That was that should have been saved.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it's a hard shot, but I think this is why the goal should stand. The goal should stand just to combat diving. Listen, there's too many players pretending to be hurt when they're not hurt. And if there's a consequence to it, then they'll just keep playing.
So you're trying to say your goal was for the good of the league?
Yes. 100%.
For the good of the game.
For the good of football, yes. If there was ever a goal this weekend for the good of football, it was Greenwood's goal. Yes.
So Ian, I think this is something a lot of our folks who followed up the podcast on Twitter, they've been wanting to ask. That's what I wanted to know from you. Like, what were your emotions during that Ronaldo day? Like when it looked like he's going to go to Man City and then, things changed dramatically.
All right. So you want me to explain? So that's the thing.
Yeah.
Listen, man. I'm a satellite Man United fan in America, right? So there is a super attachment to Manchester United, but I'm like the dude that first of all, I'm not young. I used to be a Knicks fan, and I realize how unhealthy it is sometimes as a Knicks fan to attach yourself so much to a team, and I learned this during my abusive relationship with the New York Knicks. So now I try to love any team in a way that doesn't hurt me back as much as it hurts other people. You know what I mean?
This is what Sir Alex Ferguson leaving your club does to you.
No. It's just this is what being a Knicks fan, like Sir Alex Ferguson, watching the New York Knicks lose 2 NBA finals will you're either gonna stay in an abusive relationship or you're gonna grow from it. You know what I'm saying? And so I love Ronaldo, but I didn't care that he was going to City because I was thinking we don't need Ronaldo. But if you like grew up in England and you have to deal with the banter from the other fans and you're just boots on the ground, then you don't want Ronaldo to go to City. You know, to me, if he'd have went to City and we'd have got like a world-class CDM, I would feel, I'm like, fine, they got him. And then if Ronaldo went to City, to me, I'm not burning his jersey. You know what I mean? I'm not acting like the Super League is about to happen again the way they were.
You're just never talking to him again?
No, it's hey man, like, listen, we sold you, you served us. I'm not mad at you because you went to somebody else. But that's just me. But I know that's not the sentiment. In England,
It's of all people, yeah.
Yeah, in England, when I went to bed, they were burning Ronaldo's jersey. When I woke up, everybody who had burned a Ronaldo jersey was trying to buy a new one when I woke up. and that's how Thursday and Friday was. And I was like, talking to my homeboy Dean, and I was explaining the situation to him. And he was like laughing. And I said, they should have kept on pretending that we didn't get Ronaldo and let people burn more jerseys. And then when they announce him 2-3 days later, then they'd have more jersey sales.
Yep.
And then Dean was like, they should have he said, Man United should have not only withheld the information that we got Ronaldo, but encourage fans come down to the stadium and set up a bonfire for them to burn their jerseys, so that more people would need new jerseys when they finally announced that he went. Yeah, it's just like so. But I'm happy for Man United fans, and then it's like now you're in a torn relationship also with the Glazers if you're a Man United fan. Like, do I hate the Glazers or do I love the Glazers? Look what they just did for me. They got us Varane, Sancho, and they pulled off a 1-day deal for Ronaldo from one of your sworn enemies. And then so it's like,
I think with the Glazers, it's not as much with it's unlike the whole Liverpool with their owners or Arsenal with their owners. Arsenal's owners spending now, but I think United, from what my sense is, the fans' complaint isn't that the owners don't spend, because they spend a lot. They've given Ollie around 450 million.
They do act like the Glazers don't spend sometimes.
Yeah, but they do, right? Like they've given every manager since Ferguson a lot of money. They've given Ollie 450 million.
Right, but listen, like it was one podcast I was listening to, like whenever, like years ago, not years ago, but when you brought up how much money Manchester United spent, I was like, for real? Because the United fans, if you just listen to them, you'll think City's just outspending us.
Yeah.
And then one day you threw out the facts. I was like, oh shit, we do spend. You're right, we did buy. So it's like we might not have spent money, right? But we spent so it's
so recruitment maybe. But I actually think Ollie, that is one of Ollie's strengths. I think he's had way more hits than misses.
Yes, that's why I'm in no hurry to get rid of the guy. As a matter of fact, if you did fire him, I would keep him on to like build fucking
Just do recruitment, have him like director of football or something
yeah,
like that?
yeah, because he's clearly great in that position. Like clearly. Like him and whoever is there, like since he's gotten there, like the team is growing stronger. If I tell you the team that we had 3 years ago compared to
Yeah, it's a
now,
much stronger team. Yeah.
yeah, you'd be like, wow, how did you even qualify for Europe with that team? So, yeah.
I hate to, I do have to get going. I got to get over to the shop. We got a couple of jobs we got to finish tonight, but I want
Alright,
to
show
say
off.
thank you guys. For, what do you mean? It's part
Nah,
of
I'm just fucking with you, bro.
Yeah, I need to get this stuff done. People are gonna be upset, but no, thank you guys for having me. I know usually we jump on when it's like a World Cup cycle that we talk more about stuff. I hated being so silent on so much of this
No,
stuff.
no,
And
it's all
also,
good.
last thing, I rewatched this over that tackle again. That dude looks at the ref, and when he realizes he's not paying attention, then he goes down. No, like I don't like you can't.
My
He
man, my
looks at
man.
the ref right after the
What I'm
tackle.
talking. That's why you're on the podcast, baby.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
And he
Yeah.
goes down right after. It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
no
He-
matter what team you support, like that's just garbage. Like,
his pain is based on
The fact that the ball went in.
where the ball went. It's
yeah,
like,
he's just
it
upset
went to-
about.
if that ball had gone to one of his teammates, he would have never went down. And so that goal was for football. And football can thank Man United for that goal.
You just see him just look at the ref, and then when he doesn't get the call, he just goes down immediately. I'm just like, no, I can't
Yes.
support this. It's not a thing. But either way, man, I thank you guys so much. We'll jump on again, man. At some point, let me know what you guys think, what you guys feedback, and then send me an email with the guys' info, and I'll send some shirts out to you guys as well.
All right, cool.
I'll send you guys some of our other shirts too. I'll put together a couple care packages for you guys, and then you guys check out our the rest of our gear as well.
All right,
But
cool.
thank you guys. It was nice meeting you guys, and then I'll be seeing you guys soon. All right,
Peace,
take care.
Elvis. All right.
Take care. Peace.
Yeah. Thanks.
So all agreed it was a foul. All right, good.
You mean wasn't?
Wasn't a foul. Yes, yeah, you're right. Thanks for correcting me. How are you feeling about Southampton, Lee, transfer window?
I mean, we got all our business done in advance, so we didn't do anything last minute. Obviously, spoken about it before, we had a big sort of leadership exodus with Bertrand, Vestergaard, Ings. They're all senior players. The guys we've replaced would have stepped up so far. I mean, we equalised last minute against Newcastle, but I think we were the better team in that game. We created better chances. And obviously the draw against United was positive as well. So
Yeah.
I'm feeling okay, but I'll feel a bit better when we get a win on the board.
All right.
2 draws is good, but just a bit of comfort getting those 3 points would be quite nice. But
How many games has it been since Southampton has won a game? Going into
we've not won this season, but we've only played 3 games.
like go add that up to last season too.
I think we won a game towards the end of last season. Let me have a look. Matches. Trying to think what our last game was.
Your last game? Oh, you mean like last year or?
You guys think Arteta is gonna survive the transfer the international break?
Yeah, here's the thing with Arteta. Edu shouldn't have that job either. And I'm not trying to get people fired, but there's something completely wrong with the organization and the office of Arsenal. Like if you look at the people they've sold and the money they spent and the players that they have, it just looks like bad money management. So this would be a tough team to manage by any manager. And then if Arteta has a say and he hasn't been like okay in the right players, then he's responsible too. And he just has something to learn about like being a manager of a club, period. Like you have almost Man City money to spend. you know, and you haven't. I don't understand. Like there's two players you could just point at, two transactions you can point at, like the Martinez going for how much to Aston Villa, and then buying a worse goalkeeper for more money as a backup. And I say worse, I'm just saying he's not as good as Martinez, obviously. And then
there seems to be some like unhappiness behind the scenes there as well.
yeah.
So Maitland-Niles has been a little bit outspoken this week. Even you see Ozil was
like being acting justified,
throwing some bait out there as well.
Yeah.
Like he put like a tweet or an Instagram post about trust the process, which is like Arteta's little phrase. Obviously Ozil was frozen out for non-footballing reasons, but Maitland-Niles was someone who supported Ozil when he was there, and he can't get in the team. So yeah, I think there's something's not right there though. The transfer business isn't right. The atmosphere doesn't seem right. And you've got a manager who's trying to play pep football with Chambers and Holding and people like that at the back. It's like you can't play pep football with those players. Like, yeah, something's wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, I keep hearing that Kolasinac is supposed to leave, but then he's starting the next day. And, you know, Xhaka is going to leave, and then he's wearing the captain's armband the next day. Like,
yeah,
it just doesn't make sense.
Listen, I don't want to shit on players because everybody's better than me. I could, you know, so it's just tough. Like I see fans.
I mean, the the decision making, like you know, at the management level.
But there's certain things I know just from watching football all my life, and that is Xhaka should never be a captain, and for him to always be a captain, and then this weekend he proves it, right? But I've said that before. Like you just can't have a Xhaka as a captain, and that's like shitting on another human being. And if it's just he's a follower. He'd probably make a great follower if he had a great leader, but he's not a leader. And it's like it's just so when you're in a position where he's one of your most experienced and senior players and a leader, you're just gonna have trouble. And it's just. Aubameyang is not working out after he signed his contract.
Well, like Kolasinac, they farmed him out to Schalke last season on loan, and Schalke were the worst team in the Bundesliga by a mile. And then he brings him back, and he's starting against Man City away. Like as soon as I saw that lineup, and you saw Chambers, Holding, and Kolasinac as a back three, it's like it's going to be a long day for you guys.
Yeah. And then even bringing El Nene back. They, you know, somebody got rid of him because he wasn't good enough, and then he's back, and he wasn't good enough to play the position that he's playing now that he's back, and Xhaka's not good enough to play the position that he's playing now that he didn't leave. And I know you have injuries. Partey's injured, but to be honest, Partey wasn't that great since he got there. So something's completely wrong, and it's more like behind the scenes and on the pitch, but it's definitely affecting on the pitch.
And the thing is, like you know, Ian, earlier in the podcast, you said that it looks like they're building a team for the two managers after Arteta. And I mean, it looks that way, like with the young players. But the problem is that if they go get somebody else, these young players may not be the young players that the new guy wants. So it's kind of like they've, you know, hooked their wagon to this guy so much, like they're so now invested in him. So they kind of have to keep going with him just to save face, regardless of, you know, what he does. Because otherwise we're talking about the biggest investment Arsenal's made in a while, all down the drain. So, I mean, there's talk about Antonio Conte moving to Arsenal. And I'm like, you look at the team,
he's not going to do that.
It's like, Antonio Conte is not a project manager. Like he's a now manager, and this is a completely project squad. So it's gonna be glorious fun if it happens, because like you think you've seen Arsenal fan TV now, like that's gonna be this on steroids.
It's just, and Arsenal, like after every Arsenal game, I just go to Arsenal fan TV. Because I want to be entertained some more. Those fans are they're in pain over there.
Yeah, you want to see someone lose their shit.
Yeah, yeah, and they're losing it over there. There's like grown men crying on camera, like they just watched their girlfriend cheat on them.
I saw a video of an Arsenal fan accusing Arteta of being a lost soul.
Oh, hilarious. Yeah, it's a lot of pain over here. It's hilarious pain. So we got international week coming up. We'll see what happens with that. Transfer window is closed. Man U, we did fine. We should challenge more than I thought we were going to challenge, but I don't think we're going to win the league.
That's what I was looking
But
to
I did say that on the first, like when we decided to rate our team's progress. Like I'm not doubting that, but you're talking like Chelsea, like Man U's ahead of Chelsea. It's not. That's
I never said that.
We come full
never
circle.
said that. You're putting words in my mouth. I never said that.
Neil, no, listen. Nobody in football agrees with you on where you think Chelsea's at.
But I don't agree with the version of what you think you heard from me. Like I never said that.
We heard what you said. We
should go really hard, like all 5 competitions, try and win everything.
Yeah, absolutely. I think what they tried to do over there is emulate the 2 teams that Man City has.
Yeah, I think Man City is given the template, right? Like they've won 3 out of the last 4 Premier League, so they've told you essentially that if you want to have sustained success in the Premier League, you gotta adjust the starting 11 is not going to cut it.
Right.
So
yeah. Well, let's bounce. So anything you want to plug, Neil?
No, just the 2 weeks of rest. Just gonna try and figure out what kind of a player Saul Niguez is, and
how are you gonna do that?
He's apparently come up with an interview in Spanish, so I'm gonna bug some of my Spanish friends to try and translate this for me. I want to know how many times he utters the word trophies in his 10-minute interview.
I mean, don't they all? It's just a buzzword they throw out.
He seems pretty sad though, because I was just seeing the visual. Okay, something about him and Simeone, like apparently he didn't use him right in the last year, so I don't know.
Yeah, it's weird because he's an academy product too, I think.
Yeah.
And so I guess they fell out. So and Chelsea is like, yo, your man not treating you right. You want to come over here, girl? Yo, what's up, man? Don't let him talk to you like that.
We got you, but for only 1 year.
We show you how a real man. Just cheat on him a little bit, and then you see if you want to come with us full time. So Chelsea. Any closing remarks, Lee, or plugs, or both?
No, just follow me on Lee Hudson Comedy on Instagram and Twitter.
See, and you can fight with Neil. What's your Sawyer's Lawyer at
Sawyer's Lawyer? Yeah, that's what I want everywhere.
He will get the last text in. He's
well, I guess no.
That's what I wanted to say about you. Because when I'm in the DMs with you, it hit me because I remember like reading some of your back and forth with some of the people on Twitter before, like earlier on. I'm like, why are you arguing with these people? And I forgot what your answer is. And then I realized when I'm with you in the DMs, oh, he's doing the same thing to me. So I'm just gonna stop.
I just leave him and Martin to it.
Yeah.
And then you're great for Martin because you're like Martin likes to troll and
I try to like play dumb somehow. Like Martin's like Lewandowski's all-time top 3. I'm like all-time top 3 Polish. What are you talking about?
So but yeah,
because Martin's right now machine gunning this thing. Like he's scattergun. Like he has no target.
He has no target.
He's gonna get anywhere and everywhere.
He doesn't even care if he hits. If he makes a score, he's just fine. But Spurs had a great transfer window, and right now, 3 games in, they won all 3, right?
All 1-0s.
All 1-0s, and the team is looking great. I love the team speed. He's using the team in a way that what's his name did not use him, like
Mourinho.
It's like the speed of Bergwijn and Son, and it's flying, bro. And then Bergwijn is like, he has the speed of Son and the finishing of Benteke. He just it's just non-existent. But he can get out there, and I feel like after at least 20 tries, he's got to put one in, and maybe that'll just give him some momentum and get him into like a scoring mode. But he has skills and he has ability. He's just not. I don't know. It's like he's cursed or something. Like a neighbor put a curse on him or something. But he's doing everything except scoring. But also, like we played Wolves, and a lot of Man U fans are like, get rid of Fred, blah 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 blah. And I know we need a CDM, but I also don't want to give up on Fred so soon. And I think he's not getting credit. Like, there was a bad pass he made, and Troy already got the ball, then got between him and Pogba, ran through them, and attacked us. And then he passed it, I think, to Neves. Neves shot it, and De Gea saved it with a foot save. And then the ball was going to land right in front of Traore. And I don't know if Traore was going to shoot it or control it and then shoot it. But the person who got that ball away from Traore was Fred. He had run back, followed the play, and made the save. And then there was a play with Trincao where Trincao just dragged him along the ground as if he got pushed out of a moving vehicle. But before the ball got to Trincao, like, Fred blocked a pass to Traore, and Traore was one-on-one with Varane. I don't have to tell you who was going to win that race. And he blocked the pass, and the pass went to Trincao, and then Fred ran over to Trincao, who had the angle on him, and dragged him, and then Wan-Bissaka saved the shot. So it's like, if you watch the part of the highlight you want to watch to say Fred sucks, you can make that statement. But there's always a game-saving tackle or block that Fred makes that everybody's forgetting. So, and a lot of Man U fans, like, I realize they don't watch the league. So when they just hear Wolves, they're like, oh, we should beat them. We shouldn't have any trouble with them. And last week I said on the podcast that Wolves is the best team in the league with no points. And listen, when I looked at their lineup to start the game, I was like, this is going to be tough. And I'm just happy that Man U won this type of game. Like, we bend, but we did not break. And this is a good 1 point to go down to Molyneux, to face that Trincao, Semedo. They have Podence on the bench. You got Jimenez, Traore, and you got midfielders, two midfielders that we wanted to buy at some point now and before. It's like, are you kidding me? The only suspect thing was their defense, and Greenwood got through that suspect defense and scored the goal that we needed. But everybody in front of those defenders, it's Monster City, and they're gonna win some games. And they still haven't played Neto, who's fast as fuck, and so yeah. Well, follow me at Ian Edwards Comic on Twitter and on Instagram, and I got some shows coming up at Jam in the Van, and I think somewhere else, and I'll post about them. But thank you, Aaron Brungard, for helping us put this together with the baby, and Elvis for coming through from onthevolleypower.com. Martin, we'll see you when you can make it, and everybody love each other, be good, and enjoy the international break and your transfer gifts if you got any. All right, one.